Hey folks, Fernando doing a video for the Modern Survivalists, and I want to do a video regarding the new Colt Python just released now. There's a bunch of misinformation floating around. Some of it is folks that really don't know what they're talking about, as it's usually the case. People think they know guns when they don't. Now there's also quite a number of people there that do know guns, but they have this, they want to make a certain impression that it's not accurate and it's not truthful. So I thought and God knows why that is. Maybe whatever a personal grudge they have with one thing or the other, or experience they had in their life, and want to feel better about it. Who knows? It's hard to say. Maybe commercial reasons if they have any affiliation with Colt. But I thought it would be a good idea to do a video, because I know lots of you guys, many of my viewers, are gun nuts, are folks very much into firearms, and if you're not completely aware of many of these facts, which I'll be going through in just a minute now, you may be deceived and make a bad decision, or just be fooled by some of this stuff floating around. So the new Colt Python is out, and I'm absolutely happy it is. I just love the idea that people can have these guns, because they're fantastic guns. They're such a classic, and it's a great thing for Colt to bring back. And let's be careful with that word, bring back, because you can never bring back. I mean, Colt can no longer make original peacemakers. They can make a copy of it, they can make something like it, but you cannot go back in time or manufacture things back from a previous era. You can make a modern rendition of it, and that's absolutely fine. In fact, when I heard lots of the things that Colt was doing, like improving, and let's use that word carefully as well, improving certain things or making those things more modern. The thing about the hand fittings part, a lot of emphasis is placed on that. And is it always better hand fitting? No, it's not. Is it always better to have modern CNC machinery and high-tech stuff? Well, it depends, because there's a lot of modern CNC finely crafted crap as well. Just because you have modern technology with a lot tighter tolerances, and you no longer need to file down and polish to the exact detail a piece, it doesn't mean that's always going to be better than the thing that was indeed hand polished and made with such care, right? But let's go through it. Number one would be, the big lie is it's a better gun. Well, no, it's not. Lots of those things that I really liked that were being said, it didn't actually turn out to be true. The gun is having lots of problems. The new Python is having lots of failures, misfires, and it's all over the internet. There's piles of it floating around, and yes, all guns may have a little bit of an issue here and there, yeah, but not at this level, especially not when the gun you're supposed bringing back is such a classic that was the premium 357 Magnum of its era. The Python was so appreciated, such held in high regard, because it was so finely crafted and it worked very well. It was very accurate, and the gun simply worked. Some of the problems that people ended up having later on was decades later, after beating the crap out of it, after not knowing how to maintain it properly, only then did it start having this reputation of, oh, it's so fragile, it's so delicate, it's a piece of art like glass that you have to take care of. No, it is not. It's a gun with a certain design that has a certain care about it, but this idea that is super fragile or just a bad gun, as I've seen people say, that's completely untrue. So number one, better gun so far? No. Maybe they'll figure out, do a proper quality control, which they should have done in the first place if they were really making this gun again. Now, what happened with all those folks that were masters of their craft that no longer existed because many of them had died, had retired, and you couldn't make this gun again because of that? Well, it turns out that, yeah, you can make the gun again, but obviously enough, it is not the same quality when you open the box and you shoot the thing, because the proof is there for everyone to see. Number two is this idea that the old guns like mine would lose value for whatever reason. That is, I mean, anyone that knows anything about guns that says such a thing is lying through his teeth. And then it is a lack of knowledge about guns in general. I mean, think about 1911s. Have you ever seen a modern 1911? Is there anyone ever made a modern 1911 in recent years of better quality than the original one? Does that retract in any way from the value of the original Colt 1911 government model? Does the Peacemaker, the old original Peacemaker, is it worth any less because of new Peacemakers made by Colts themselves? Has it changed the collector value of those guns? Absolutely not. This thing is a classic that, with all its the little things going on and quirks and such of the design, it is still an ultimate American classic that's not going to be going away, no matter how many copies of it you make, if you have the original one. So number 2, this idea is completely false. Number 3 is sights. Something else that I've been seeing around is, oh, the new Python has high visibility sights. Man, these are original. I did touch a thing here, and these are quite visible. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with any of the gun. Right? Now, for you folks wondering why I have this gun here, and this, by the way, is my Manuran MR73, take all of this from who's coming from. A guy that, in his opinion, this is a fantastic gun, right? And in my very, apparently misguided knowledge about guns, my little story goes this way. I wanted to get 3 of the best revolvers ever made. That was my idea. I just wanted 3 of the best ever made. My idea was to get a Colt Python, to get a Manuran MR73, and to get a Colt. That is, in my opinion, some of them, no. This is, in my opinion, the 3 best revolvers ever made. Forget about your Smith & Wessons. Yes, those are fantastic. We all love the Smith & Wessons, especially the new ones with the Hillary hole. Those are great. Ruger is better than everything in the planet. Yes, let's appease those folks that are freaking out right now. Well, that, in my opinion, that's it. Colt, Python, MR73, and the Colt. I got my Colt, I got my Python, I got my MR73, and when I got my MR73, I liked it so much that instead of buying a Colt, I went with another MR73. Why did I do that? For a number of reasons. I just fell in love with the model, you could say. I just love the gun so much that I'd rather have 2 MR73s than have a Colt. That's just my take on it. Yours can be completely different, and that's perfectly fine. They're very similar in some aspects, made out of tool steel. That's better than pretty much anything out there. It has a strength that no other gun compares to these two, the Manuran and the Colt. But most of all, the history, some of the finer details in terms of the trigger, why it was made this way for the elite operators using this gun, which would be a very accurate term for the GIGN. So because of all that, I'd rather have another one of these. Now, I'm talking about this because for a lot of people that are thinking, okay, I couldn't afford a Python, right? I couldn't afford a Python back in the day, or more recently, especially with the current prices. So I'm going to be buying my $1,500 2020 Python. I mean, no. I mean, if you want to go buy yourself an old Python and spend the $3,000, go and get yourself the original Python. It is the real deal. It is the original thing. And no matter what, this idea that this is better, I mean, all of this is crap compared to my Glock in terms of a tactical handgun, right? In terms of a practical gun that puts bullets down range and it never dies, and it's something. We're talking about something else. Yes, this is quality manufacturing, but it's also history. It's a little bit of art as well. You just cannot do it again. If I paint the Mona Lisa or take a photograph of it, I cannot sell it for the same price as the original thing, even if mine has been improved and upgraded with Photoshop, and mine is better than the Mona Lisa sitting in the Louvre. No, I'm a complete idiot. That's simply not true. Same thing here, right? Let's go on. Number 4, something I heard some folks say, the trigger is better. The trigger is maybe one of the more renowned things about the Python. It is beautiful. It is soft. The single action is flawless. There's really not many ways in which you can improve. Yes, the Cobra is somewhat of a little bit of a different trigger. I wouldn't call it better because, having tried both, I like the Python, the trigger on the Python better. It is just feels smoother for me. it's just a better trigger. It is one of the things for which the Python has been renowned for. Now, if you ask me, I like the trigger in my MR73 better. Why? Because it is intended for the tactical use of having a shorter trigger pull and being snappier, and it's more of a fighting gun, and that's kind of the thing I like the most. So these triggers for me are the best there are. One other reason why I like this more than the Colt, the trigger that it has. Right. And number 5 is better steel being used in the new Python. The new Python is so much better because the steel is so, there was nothing wrong with the steel use, and they're not clarifying what steel it is. I don't know who said it on YouTube, and I don't mean any disrespect, but what steel is it that is so much better than the old steel? What was wrong with the steel in the original Python? I never heard any of that being a problem. In fact, the problems with the Python is when people that don't know how the model works and the maintenance that it requires shoot the gun to pieces by rattling itself. They feel a little bit of play and they don't change the hand or whatever part needs to be replaced because it has worn down as intended, and they keep on shooting it. They beat the crap out of the gun and they go, the Python is a piece of shit. There you go, throw it to the garbage. No, that is not true. Something else that happens is if you buy yourself the cheapest possible Python that you can find, this is probably beating the crap out of. So I'm not surprised that the trigger is not all that great, that the gun doesn't shoot as well, or that it spits lead all over, or it has a series of problems with any gun that is not on its best shape because you couldn't afford a nice gun. If you get an old Python in good condition, it is a beautiful piece. The trigger is fantastic and it shoots surprisingly well. Well, not surprisingly, because giving its fame, you'd think the gun would shoot well, and it does. In fact, it does shoot very well. Is it a work gun so as to beat the crap out of? Well, if you want to do that, maybe get a Ruger or a Smith, not a beautiful artwork like the Python, but that is simply what it is. Now, if you want a gun that is kind of immortal, if you want God's revolver, 357 Magnum, well, this is as close as it gets, this and the Colt. Why? Well, because the steel is indeed a lot better in this gun. And I was watching a video, someone was saying, I don't know if it was one of Colt representatives, he was saying, we tried our new Python up to 12,000 rounds. Well, the MR73 has shot over 100,000 rounds, and then some. Why? Because it's not magic or anything special. It is some of the best tool steel that they could get. Tool steel is a lot harder and a lot tougher and a lot stronger than the steel typically used in guns, which is a little bit of a softer steel, and it's easier to machine. Why is that? Well, it is easier to machine. That saves costs. It's also it is cheaper to polish, finish, work with it. The bits on your machine are not going to be wearing out as fast because of all those reasons, and because people simply don't shoot as much. People don't really go, and the average shooter is not going to be putting 10,000 rounds through his revolver, and the rare guy that does is a professional shooter. Maybe he's going to be changing to a new gun instead of keep shooting on the same thing until he puts 100,000 rounds. Now, in the case of the MR73, it was a specific requirement so as to be capable of taking those round numbers. The GIGN, the French Special Forces, wanted it's like a SWAT, special gendarme kind of thing. They wanted a gun that they could shoot every single day for 100 and something rounds of 357 Magnum without the gun breaking ever. And they made this thing, right? And they got a pile of other things that they wanted in the gun. But that's the truth about this type of steel. This type of steel, I mean, why wouldn't your original Python be capable of taking 12,000 rounds? I never heard anything about that. If we're talking about higher round number counts, because it's a pretty massive revolver, the frame itself of the original Colt is not flimsy or weak in any way. That's something that people that don't know much about guns think when they hear about the Colt being fragile. The fragility is regarding some other aspects of the small internal parts of the gun that are intended to wear out as you keep on shooting it and should be replaced. People don't replace it, they beat the crap out of the gun suffers, and you can damage some other main parts of the gun if you keep on doing that. But the frame itself, the barrel itself, the cylinder, this is all top quality steel as it was originally made. I'm not saying the new one is bad in any way. I don't have any proof of that. But if you're telling me that 12,000 rounds is the definite proof that it's so much better? No, because this gun can take those rounds as well, as long as you keep doing the proper maintenance. Finally, this idea that, and I think this was Yankee Marshall actually who said that, who I love his channel, but he was saying that, yes, in the old days, hand fitting was necessary. That is exactly correct. In the old days, you didn't have the manufacturing process that you have right now, and hand fitting was required because there was no other way of making parts match. Now, it doesn't mean that what you make today with injected metal that's not of the same quality, with tolerances that are really not as good in some cases, with quality control. I'm talking about something that has been proved. It's not my personal opinion. It's been proved that the new Colt Python, the 2020 model, doesn't have the same quality control and the same attention and care in its construction as the original model. So, yes, modern technologies are fantastic. Yes, old technologies are also fantastic, and when masters in their art dedicated hours, they came up with some pretty impressive stuff. That's why some of these things have gained such a reputation. This is the Manu Run. I bring it up because some of the discussions are very similar. It is also hand-fitted. I think it was like 24 hours or some ridiculous amount of time that the masters of France in gun manufacturing put into this gun. It is all hand-fitted, but a lot of these things you can replace yourself. It's not impossible. In fact, one of these guns, the previous owner was a monkey with a wrench or a Dremel tool. Unfortunately, didn't screw up anything important. I was able to call the company and find the parts, got those shit from France. I fixed it myself. Very happy with it. Fantastic revolver. The guy even lost one of the screws because he unscrewed it so much. He tried to, I don't know, soften the trigger pull and some bullshit like that, and he ended up losing the screw that goes in there. And screwing with that managed to break the spring as well and replace it with a piece of crappy improvised thing that they did. But when you have quality, you can get the parts and you can fix it, or you can even make those parts, get those parts made if something breaks and it's not available. And quality matters. Quality makes a difference. In many cases, quality lasts long. So that's why I love these guns. That's why I love the Python as well, within all its differences and the little quirks that the design has. It's a beautiful gun. I honestly wish, bottom of my heart, I wish that Colt finally pulls its ass together and gets the proper quality control that it should. I don't think they're gonna be putting the amount of man-hour into their guns like they did back in the day. I simply don't see that happening. So the finishing, it's not going to be the same. Yes, you will have a gun that looks very similar to the original Colts, made by Colt, and that's fantastic. Go buy one. I'm happy enough with my original one, so yeah, that's not gonna be me. But if that works for you, go get yourself that. Don't believe the bullshit about, yes, it is so much better than the original thing, and this is made of super 2020 Colt steel. If you want to get, my advice, honestly, I wouldn't buy a modern Colt. I would go, you can still buy the Manu Runs, it's like $2,000. But yes, it is absolutely worth it. This is a gun that's going to be worth that money, and you know what? They're not going to be making any of these for much longer. I think that production is, if it hasn't stopped already, that's kind of where it's going. So yeah, the kind of technology of hours of dedication, of busting bits in machinery so as to make things that are no longer required, that kind of has an end eventually. Folks, if you stuck around to this video, stick around for one more second. I have my book, Bugging Out and Relocating. It's in a nice discount right now in Amazon. I leave the links below as I always do. I think it's going for 13 bucks. If you haven't got it, this is a good chance. And as always, I recommend my latest book, which in my opinion is my best one, full of good information, Street Survival Skills, also available in Amazon for you to check out. Guys, see you in the next video. Have an awesome day.